Hey guys, what's up? My name is MJFANGIRL and I'm a longtime Michael Jackson fan. I've been a fan for almost my entire life. I'm 35 years old, so that's 3 decades plus of learning, researching, and just like really diving deep into the life of Michael Jackson. And so what I have here is a huge stack of books that I want to introduce to you guys. If you guys are interested in learning more about Michael Jackson, not only who he was as an entertainer, as an artist, but also as a humanitarian and as a human being, stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. You're now watching MJFANGIRL TV.
Girl, you got to know. We can touch the sky like yesterday.
First one, Michael Jackson, Moonwalk. This is his autobiography. This came out in the late 80s. It is basically all of his life in his own words, up and through the Bad album and the Bad era. And the reason why I love this is because it's in his own words. It's gonna be very rare that, that you will find anything that goes into depth like this when it comes to Michael Jackson talking about his career and his artistry. There are a couple of interviews that go into depth, but really I feel like he was most candid here. When this book came out, I think a lot of people were a little disappointed because they were looking for the tea, they were looking for the gossip, very controversial things, and they really weren't looking for what he was giving in this book, which was his honest and true opinion about a lot of the things that he went through in his life. He talks about the beginnings, you know, with the Jackson 5. He talks about his relationship with his parents, his father, his brothers. He talks about leaving Motown, starting anew, doing the Wiz, and doing Off the Wall and recording that and writing some of the songs on the Thriller album, and just really a lot that I feel is very, very important for anyone to know if they're looking to learn about Michael Jackson and what some of his thought processes were in the creation of some of his best work. You definitely need to check this book out. Comment down below and let me know, have you read this book? If you're a Michael Jackson fan, let me know if you've read it. I feel like you probably have, but if you haven't, check it out. Second one. Now this is probably even more autobiographical than the first. This is Michael Jackson's Dancing the Dream. This is a book of short stories, poems, and little writing pieces, dare I say essays? More like little writing pieces. It's also got some really great photos inside. But I love this because you really get a chance to learn about, again, Michael Jackson, not only how he thinks, but what's on his heart. Here's one that I love. It's called How I Make Music. People ask me how I make music. I tell them I just step into it. It's like stepping into a river and joining the flow. He talks about God, love, and the pictures in here are great. Courage. This is actually, I don't even know if you guys can see it because the glare is so heavy here. Let's see if you guys can see that. But courage. Screenshot that. If you have not read that, you need to. It's a wonderful book of poems and reflections released in the 90s. I'm not even sure what year this was released. Was it in 93? Oops, and looks like my book is falling apart. And if you're wondering where to get all this stuff, I would highly recommend checking out eBay or used bookstores. I got a lot of these things when they were first released, or like before Michael Jackson passed, so that a lot of them weren't really expensive or hard to find. This was released in 1992 July. So that's a great book. Now I'm gonna get into a book that came out a really long time ago, also from the family. I'm gonna stick to all the books by the family, and then I'm gonna go into some others. This is by Katherine Jackson, the most wonderful Katherine Jackson, the mother of the matriarch, the mother of Michael Jackson, the matriarch of the Jackson family, My Family, the Jacksons. And she is very candid. She is a great storyteller. I learned so much from this book, and I read it because actually I was doing some research a couple years back on the Jackson's American Dream movie, which is the movie they always show on VH1, that biopic, that very long, I think it's like 4-hour movie. I love that movie, and so I was doing research and I found out that it was based on Katherine Jackson's book, and I was like, what's that? Turns out it's this, My Family, the Jacksons. Here it says never before in print. I think this is very hard to find now. So, and all the photographs in the middle are like from her personal collection, and so, you know, very cool book. I'm gonna just put that closer so you guys can see, but this is a really cool book to have and a great book for anyone's collection. It says the complete saga of the world's most dazzling legend told by the woman who knows it best. And so this is really cool. It actually also goes into some stuff that will have you like, what? That actually happened? You're Not Alone, Michael Through a Brother's Eyes. And I love this because it gives a lot of perspective into their life growing up and as part of the Jackson 5. And so I love this book. You guys can see I have tons of notes here because I did write an essay a while back about the relationship between Jermaine and Michael. And one of the really interesting things that I found was that not only was it not really like that crazy brother rivalry like how it was played out in the press, but it was also like something that even the record label Motown kind of fed into, by like having them have back-to-back solo albums while they're in the Jackson 5 and having Michael do this and Jermaine do that, and then you find out later on like how their relationship evolved as adults, and how it was, you know, in the later last years of Michael's life. Talks about even the trial and stuff. And so I really loved that book. I thought it was really cool to hear Jermaine's perspective, not only just about Michael but about their lives as the Jackson family, and just growing up entertaining the world. Next book is The Jacksons' Legacy. I love this book. Nice coffee table book. The memories of the brothers, untold, unseen, unforgettable. And I wish that this had gotten a little bit more love when it first came out. Like, the pictures in it are amazing. The stories in it, you know, just a wonderful collector's book. And a lot was revealed in this book. One of the cool things that I took away from this book was that they actually recorded the Jackson 5 Christmas album in July, or in the summer basically, and Jackie talks about how it was like being outside in the playground and going back inside in like the sweltering heat, singing the Jackson 5 Christmas songs. And not only that, but the Jackson family were Jehovah's Witnesses, so they actually also didn't even celebrate Christmas. So amazing to me how they were able to convey those emotions and get that cool Christmas album out, and they didn't even celebrate the holiday. And it was like something that I grew up in, and I can't imagine like my Christmases without the Jackson 5 Christmas. So I love this. It also shows you so much of their history. There's like a timeline and things that they accomplished. You can see they've got like interviews here. Sorry, it's really hard to see with the lighting, but they've got interviews here with like every brother, you know, photos upon photos, quotes. I mean, they sang for Queen Elizabeth in 1977. This is a quote from Jackie. "One minute I was in school studying British history, the next thing I know the Queen is asking us to come and perform. We were told how to behave in front of royalty. You don't talk to them, you wait for them to talk to you. There were so many rules." Get that if you're interested in learning about the history and how impactful Michael Jackson was as a part of the Jackson 5. Next up is this book, The Man of Music by Joe Vogel. This pretty much goes through the creative work and the life of Michael Jackson. I mean, I love it. I think it's really, really in depth. He talks about pretty much every song, and yeah, there's little tidbits. Even like I've just flipped to a random page here. He even talks about other songs that were not released, like Monkey Business, Do You Know Where Your Children Are, Serious Effect, She Got It. Not that they weren't released, but not official album tracks. You know, he's got sections here that talk completely about songs. Why You Wanna Trip on Me, In the Closet, Jam. I mean, and then in between each album he's got things that kind of describe Michael's career and life at the time. So I think that that's really cool. They go by chapter. Let's see, chapter, yeah, Blood of the Dance Floor, Invincible. Chapter 7's Invincible, and The Final Years. But yes, if you're looking to learn more about Michael Jackson's like artistry and each song and the history behind each song, definitely go get this book by Joe Vogel. This is an official book, approved by the estate as well. And there are a couple other books that I want to mention from my Kindle. But first I'm going to go into these three. Number 1, Humanitarian by Paul Dwyer. I really think if you want to learn about Michael Jackson as a humanitarian, you have to read this. It's literally a timeline of all of the humanitarian efforts from Michael Jackson, just like literally each thing that he's done. I mean, and the cool thing is he even got a chance to talk to some of the people who, you know, who were touched by Michael Jackson, some of children, especially that were visited by Michael when he was young, when they were younger in the hospital and stuff. And I just love to read this because I think one of the things Michael Jackson really wanted to be remembered for was, you know, his love of people and his humanitarianism. But this is a very cool book, and Paul Dwyer is so nice. I met him a couple times recently, and shout out to you, Paul. Also, this is a very good book. This is a book that I cherish because it came out in the 80s, thriller era, by Nelson George, actually, who's also going to be directing the Thriller 40 documentary. Here's a closer look at it, if you guys can see that. It says, now for the very first time, here's the intimate inside story. Michael and his family turning Indiana grit into Motown Platinum and California Gold. And so, yeah, you've heard the music, you've seen him in action. Now here's the book that takes you behind the scenes into the very, very private, star-studded world of the one and only Michael Jackson. So yeah, the Nelson George story. This came out in 1984. And it says, this material in this book is culled from my interviews with various Jackson family members, written accounts of Michael since 1968. And this foreword was written by Nelson George in 1983, August, in New York City, and he's going to be directing the Thriller documentary, which I have heard is fabulous. I'm very excited about that. I don't know when that's going to air. It did come out for like sneak previews. It's still kind of, I guess, in its in the creative process of being completed, and so I'm excited for that. But Nelson George has got a lot of history with the Jacksons, and so I'm excited to see his take. The previous two documentaries were done by Spike Lee, the Motown to Off the Wall, and the Bad 25 documentary. So very excited for Thriller. Then this is another book that I think is really good if you're a Michael Jackson fan. If you're just looking to read things that are more so about like what he did, you know, as a humanitarian, as an artist, whatever person, read those books. But if you're looking for a fan story, that's a real fan story, read this book. And I really loved it. It's called Michael Jackson and Me, a real life fairy tale by Talitha Lenahan. And this is a fan that kind of became like someone. This is her and Michael in his house in Neverland. This is someone who really who followed Michael Jackson all over the world and was invited to certain things and was invited inside his home. And it's kind of like, you know, one of those stories that like every fan dreams of, being invited inside of Michael Jackson's home and hanging out with him and just experiencing the dozens of shows and hundreds of appearances that she did, and running into Michael in Vegas. And so I really enjoyed that book. I thought it was a good one. Like I said, those are things that fans could only dream about. And so if you're looking for a fan story, someone that was really around during Michael's time on the history tour and later all throughout the rest of his life, you got to pick that up. It's a really good read, and she's a writer, so she's a very good storyteller, and she knows what details to share, and it's very captivating. And so now I'm gonna open up my Kindle, because comment down below, but I'm one of the people that like kind of has stopped buying hardcover books. I don't know the last time I purchased a book. If I'm being honest with you, everything is just on my Kindle, because I find it to be so much easier to read that way and to keep track of everything that way. But this book is really good because it actually goes into detail about every song. It's kind of similar to the Joe Vogel book in that it talks like strictly about like the work and stuff, but I really love it because it's like the story behind every single track. And so this is what the cover looks like, if you guys could see that. And like I'll just go through, for example, like from the Jackson 5 to the Jacksons, Got to Be There, Ben, Music and Me, Forever Michael, Off the Wall, Triumph, Victory, Bad, Dangerous, History, Invincible. Like you've got everything. And you know, you could just click on a song, for example, and this is Liberian Girl, right? And it goes into, it talks about the musicians, technical team, the single, the song, the genesis of the song, and the production, and just very, very in-depth detail. The short film, very, very in-depth detail about each song. And so I love it for that reason. And then the next book that I want to talk to you guys about is, I should have to search my Kindle. It's so funny because the Kindle is like so old school in certain ways. Michael Jackson Inc. The Rise, Fall, and Rebirth of a Billion-Dollar Empire by Zach O'Malley Greenberg. And this is the cover of this. Now, if you want to read a book about Michael Jackson as a businessman and how he achieved so many things business-wise, you guys need to read that. It talks so much about like the different business deals, from the Beatles catalog to how he was able to work along with John Branca, who was his lawyer at the time, to get the funds to create Thriller when the record company did not want to pay for it. It just talks about a lot of what he did and what he accomplished as a businessman. And it also talks about, after his passing, how the estate was able to kind of create this money-making machine behind the Michael Jackson brand name, and how they were able to kind of revive the brand name. And I really loved it. I thought it was really, really cool. It also even talked, I think, a little bit about Motown and the royalties, and how Michael Jackson kind of fought for certain royalties. And I think it brings a lot of context behind a lot of Michael Jackson's achievements, because I think people just thought that Michael Jackson just so happened to achieve certain things, but no, there was a lot of thought and things behind it, and Michael was a businessman. So very cool book. Like I said, these are all, I mean, there's so many books, but like I mean, you've got to just pick and choose what you would like. These have got to be like, I mean, two of my favorites, the autobiography, and then this one about Michael the businessman. All these are my favorite. The one by Talitha, the Jacksons. If you're a Jackson family fan and you're looking for some more information about what they achieved, definitely get this book. But yeah, comment down below. Let me know if there are any books that I missed. Let me know also if you guys have any specific favorites, books about Michael Jackson. And I will try to link as many of the books as I can down below. But yeah, until next time, thank you guys so much for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe. I make videos for and about Michael Jackson and the fan community. And so I look forward to you guys' feedback. And of course, let me know if there's anything else you guys want me to record. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.